We had something else interesting happen, and this was in CS. ESIC returned. You thought they were dead. They were just sleeping. So yeah, they're back somehow. I don't know. They've done a bunch of stuff. But anyway, what they did is they banned a player called Joel ahead of his appeal. Joel is, we'll talk more about him in a moment, but he is a highly well-regarded young Swedish player who seemed to be a good talent prospect, formerly of Monty, and he has been banned temporarily as it stands for match fixing. So, one of the things I thought would be worth talking about is just to remind everybody that this was already kind of floating out there. So just to give you a complete history of it before we get into the ESIC ban itself. You may remember there was a former ESIC guy, and the former ESIC guy was insane. And the former ESIC guy put out a bunch of stuff saying he had evidence of all this match fixing, and that journalists should contact him. And then I did contact him, and the contact was pretty much 4 days of rambling interviews with no evidence shared, where at the end of it, he even tried to get me to give him money to get a hardware cheat delivered from China, right? The whole thing was ridiculous. So, the guy was called Yarabo, and one of the things that happened in the allegations was he had gone and blackmailed Monty, saying, if you pay me money, I won't leak evidence of Joel to match fixing to anyone else. I will turn over the evidence to you. And so you can see here, Waro2K was playing for Monty at the time. He said, we offered to help him investigate his claims against Joel, but since he didn't want to do anything for free, we said that if we have evidence to ban our player, we could pay, but the evidence he gave is not enough to do something to the player. So we didn't pay him, and now he says we will not get any invites to tournaments. Would you like to help open this situation publicly and show who this person is? So I did. And then so I interviewed Waro2K, and he said after he did a podcast, that's the podcast where he accused everyone, said Hooks, he was a fixer back when he was in Copenhagen Flames, all this other stuff. After his podcast, I wrote to him asking about myself. He didn't give proof of it, and he named Waro2K as well. He didn't give proof of anything about me, but after I asked about other players on the team, he showed some evidence about Joel, but it was only screenshots from some chat of someone selling info or something like that. I said to him if he gave solid evidence, we would pay $5,000 to $10,000. After that, Yarabo started talking about money every time, and now some tournaments don't want to invite us after saying they would. He wrote to me and our CEO saying we would never get invited because the CEO had not paid him $5,000, and he said he lost the source of information because he gave those screens to us, which some guy was talking about Joel match fixing for money. Now, this is me speaking. Having seen the evidence Yarabo was using as leverage in this financial transaction, I have to say it's utterly laughable. The type of second-hand sourced gossip not even the most shameless anonymous leaker would post for clout. It was literally a screenshot of a conversation of someone saying Joel threw a game for a friend's friend for $500. There wasn't any conversation with Joel directly, no evidence of financial transactions. Hell, the person complaining about it didn't even provide details of which game it was specifically, or even if it was while he was on the Monty roster. Yet such is the nervousness around these claims being taken seriously behind the scenes, it was enough for Yarabo to get a direct conversation with Monty management to discuss a payment arrangement. Now, the mad thing is that this was already out there, right? And because there was a weird thing going on with the mods where, well, two things were going on the CSGO subreddit. One, there's a moderator who's like a massive clicks Philip fan, and he has been like fucking with all my work, fucking in the comments when people are defending me or correcting lies about me, deleting those, but then allowing lies about the time that I definitely bullied his favorite YouTuber, and all that bullshit is in there. So there was one moderator doing that, and then there was another moderator that was, for some reason, super pissed off that I'd written an article saying Yeah, maybe we shouldn't be banning all Russians from esports competitions. Maybe that's prejudice. We didn't do that to Americans when they invaded a sovereign nation and committed war crimes. He didn't like that. And what he was doing was he would wait, and if an article hadn't been posted, he would post the article at like 4 a.m. at night. And then nobody would see it, and it would die on the vine. Now, I don't know why those two moderators were taking it upon themselves to fuck with me like that, when all I'm trying to do is put work out there that should help the community. But that's the state of the CSGO scene, ladies and gentlemen. That's where we're at. You can dedicate your life to making it better, but you're the bad guy. So not a lot of people saw these articles, and this was sort of the last straw for me, like working at Deserto, because it kind of felt like, I put a lot of work into this. My reward for interviewing the guy was he leaked my phone number. Fortunately, it was for a burner phone, but he leaked my phone number publicly and then tried to have me doxxed. That was my reward for interviewing him and listening to what he had to say. So I got absolutely nothing out of this, and nobody saw it anyway. But I thought this was good work, and it was important. This story laid the foundations to basically what sort of come next. And that was this ESIC announced that they were going to ban Joel. They had evidence of match fixing, and that it had come through. And remember, Joel was dropped from Monty, right? So he was dropped from Monty and then ended up on another team called Victory Zigzag. This was their statement from ESIC released last week. This is the public statement on the disciplinary action against participant Joel Homeland. The Esports Integrity Commission has taken decisive action to provisionally suspend Mr. Joel Homeland, a professional esports player, formerly of Team Godsent. And yeah, sorry, I'm missing out the part as well. He was dropped from Godsent as well as Monty before that, and then he ended up on a team Victory Zigzag, who, as we'll get to, they qualified for Blast. Anyway, he is banned from all ESIC member events in light of evidence available corroborating allegations of his multiple breaches of the ESIC anti-corruption code. It is alleged that Mr. Joel Homeland, while being a professional player for the team Godsent, engaged in corrupt behaviour, contravening the ESIC anti-corruption code during his participation in the Bet Boom Playlist Urbanistic event, and separately in the IEM Dallas 2023 Europe Closed qualifier involving Counter-Strike Global Offensive for the following infringements. Between the period of the 27th of March 2023 and 28th of March 23, Mr. Homeland placed bets on matches he was playing in. Second, on the 31st of March 2023, Mr. Homeland placed 2 bets against his own team in one match, and between the period of the 29th of March to the 1st of May, Mr. Homeland proceeded to place 17 bets on various other CSGO matches. Now, what's interesting is, when this went to Reddit, loads of people were replying and going, but if you look at the games that he bet on, he played really well and they won. ESIC have got it wrong again. And I'm like, what? They made a clear distinction in this statement that he placed bets on matches he was playing in, but he also placed bets against himself. So, in other words, the first offense is he bet on himself to win. Now, we're going to talk about that in just a second. Because, again, I don't give a fuck. This scene's garbage. So we will get down into the weeds and talk about it. Let's just see what they say their evidence is. And then we'll look at the games. 1, they have records of the bets placed during the events. 2, multiple account registrations and associated details. 3, digital footprints, including IP addresses, device IDs, and browser information. 4, linkages between the betting accounts and various social media platforms. 5, betting patterns in relation to specific esports matches and in-game performance. 6, records of bets placed on various esports matches. 7, patterns of betting behavior in relation to professional participation. Now, one of the things that you will notice immediately, and I teach this in my course, when you want to spot match fixing, you will notice quite quickly when it's happening, because you will see a large volume of typically max value bets, because the esports markets typically have a limit. You can't bet more than $400, for example, in one sitting on any one game. Although some sites have that limit, but you can place an infinite number of bets. They just all have to be $400, which makes the point moot. But anyway, so what you'll notice is about 15 minutes before the game, when the fix is in, because people didn't want to move the money line by betting sooner and get the best value odds, they place the bet in the way the fix is going to go 15 minutes before the game starts. And so any good bookie will just spot that. A lot of suspicious activity. This is why, actually, in fixing groups, they like to have a very small circle. You don't just tell everyone, because if too many people move the money line too drastically all at once before a game starts, the bookies just cancel the bets. And that happens all the time. And if the same group, if the same team is involved, they stop taking action on that team. If you remember, that's what happened to those guys that totally didn't cheat in the fucking CIS qualifier. So let's have a look at the games, and we'll get into what this could all possibly mean. Right, this is Joel's match history. We'll go back and we remember the specifics of the days of the offences. So on the 27th of March and the 28th of March, he placed bets on himself to win, right? Now, you will notice, not only did he place bets on himself to win, they won, right? And they beat good opposition. They beat Heat 2-0, right? Heat are a decent team. Joel popped off 51 kills. Then in the other game, it was Big. And you can see here, they beat Big 2-1. And wow, Joel got 73 kills across 3 maps. Isn't that amazing, right? Now, what's interesting is, when we get to the other games, his confidence just seems to disappear, and suddenly he's betting on his team to lose. And if we, again, take you back to the list of matches that there were after that, when he started placing bets, bloody losing to Cloud9, struggling to beat Bizvitki Zakuska, IM Dallas, dropped a map against Epic dudes, losing to OG, losing to Sinners. Weird, right? So, what's going on? Well, you have to look at the tournaments. These types of cups, the Bet Boom, Playlist Urbanistic, your CCTs, your Pinnacles, whatever it is, these are a hotbed. These are a hotbed for fixed games where people are handing out the clean feeds and giving them to players, right? I know this from my own private investigations. I got a ton of stuff on this. What happens is, someone who works for one of these betting companies or one of their data partners, they have access to a clean live feed of the stream in real time coming from the server. Why? Because you need it for live betting. You need it for data purposes. You need to pull the data from the server so you can update stuff on your gambling website. So someone has access to that privileged material. Right? And the problem is, the more people that have access to it, the more people that work at these companies, the more people then can distribute it. You might sell it for money, you might be in on the match fix, but if you give somebody who you know has been involved with match fixing before and therefore doesn't want to self-incriminate, if you give them access to a radar, right, essentially, that's what they call it, being on radar. You're not using a radar hack that's going to be VAC detected. You're putting a clean feed on a second monitor so you know where everyone is. Now, I'm not saying that's what Joel did, but I am saying many players that fix games and bet on themselves to win have done that, including in NA with the whole ESIC thing. So, otherwise, when they were the underdog against Big, how could you be sure you were going to win? And it just so happens that the guy that's accused of doing it, he's the guy that pops off and drops a ton of kills, is he? Wow. Now, I haven't had time to go back and watch this demo. Might be something to watch on stream one day, assuming the demo still work now that CS2's here. Remember, by the way, CS2 wasn't real and I made it all up. I enjoy playing CS2. But the reality is, that would be the only way you could guarantee that you were going to win and get a return on that money. It's the only way. So, I thought it was interesting. One of his teammates, in a now deleted tweet, also came out and said, yeah, he was cheating as well. And obviously, that's been deleted. There it is. Was saved on Discord because it was deleted and no one... Again, archive these tweets, guys. Don't let them die on the vine. But there it is. Good to see. And for those who wondered, yes, he did also cheat at times. So in other words, at times, my belief is, because no one will be dumb enough to download an actual hack and risk getting a VAC ban or risk getting anything else. If you had access to Radar, if you had access to a live stream, you would just do that. And that's what I'm pretty sure he means. So again, just looking at all the evidence, I'm taking ESIC at face value here. That might be perilous, but, it all points in one direction. Then, this was the statement, update on our former player, Joel. Today, we can reveal the reasons why we, as of earlier this year, benched and eventually parted ways with the Swedish player Joel, who previously was part of our main roster. Joel's suspension from Godsent followed us being informed of serious allegations relating to match fixing and betting between the 27th of March and the 1st of May on our own and other matches coming from relevant parties in the industry. As soon as we retrieved the information, we immediately suspended Joel from play. Then we have been closely collaborating with ESIC and helping them build a case and collecting evidence in collaboration with third parties. Joel's contract was eventually terminated, and any relations and associations he had with that organisation were void. This unfortunately made it so that he could continue playing in other teams until ESIC could finalise and make its case. ESIC has since 3 weeks ago presented Joel with a notice of charge that has now fallen due, whereas he will be facing a ban for professional play in all tournaments protected by ESIC. The reason for our delay in sharing more information is that we've been working with ESIC in confidence and confidentiality, and neither we nor ESIC have been able to make any public statements until we had enough evidence to move forward with the case. This process has now been executed. We're very saddened by this situation. However, we are positive that we finally have been able to resolve the situation and that Joel is facing a long-term ban, hopefully sending a signal to the scene. We thank ESIC for their support and diligence in this case. Godsent condemn these behaviours in the strongest sense and will continue to work hard to protect the game from bad actors that destroy fair competition in the sport we love. Now, you might go, okay, yeah, well done, Godsent. It's a good statement. I'm going to just say this. Given that I'd already reported that there was these allegations that were out there, and yes, the evidence was flimsy, but it was enough for Monty to drop him for match fixing, and this was publicly known that he was a suspected match fixer, and that's why they dropped him. That was the only reason for Monty to drop him, because he was a great prospect, although you do have to wonder, if he's playing these games on Radar, no wonder he looks so good. Why did Godsent pick him up? And they picked him up because, he's not been convicted of anything, so even though he's dodgy, we can still get the fucking benefit. And that happens all the time. I'm sick of this in esports, where it's like, some guy has got so much smoke, and then they go, yeah, but what about the fire, though? There ain't none, right? And it's like, listen, you can get away with that, like, 1 time, 2 times. But if somebody is being constantly accused, and there's all these screenshots out there and all this other stuff, you don't have to pick them up. You don't have to invite that team to your tournament. It's perfectly fine to just say, forget about it. We're not going to do it. I remember writing an article about them German guys, Killerfish, in 2015. And I said, why do we still invite these guys to tournaments when we know they're cheating and we know they're match fixing, and here's all the evidence, and everybody knows it. So why not just say, we're not going to invite you? It's an invite. You don't have to extend it. But no, we want the German team represented. We all make excuses. We don't police ourselves. And that's why we end up with 37 cheating coaches, widespread match fixing and ESEA, all this other bullshit that's gone on, all these attacks and competitive integrity. It's ridiculous. Anyway, needless to say, he denied the charges, because no match fixers ever come clean. Shit, there's like players that have retired. You may as well tell everyone now. But no. The 30th of August, I received a notice of charge from ESIC. I instantly jumped on a call with Ian Smith, head of ESIC. They then decided no further action will be taken at that point in time. After my qualification, a blast, and several tweets from different individuals, I believe ESIC felt forced to ask. And yesterday, the 9th of September, I received yet another, still the same notice of charge. Today, they decided to make a public statement that is extremely injustice. They are accusing me of several stuff I didn't do, and that's fairly obvious. Still, if I come out publicly with them, I am breaking the confidentiality. I am still willing to cooperate with ESIC and will give my final answer around the 6th of October together with my lawyer. Now, I am a little bit nervous that, he's got a lawyer involved, and we all know what ESIC does in regards to that. But I'm also going to assume that on the basis they put this statement out, their first match-fixing charge in God knows how long, plus they said they have digital footprints that prove he did the bets, and Godsent felt comfortable enough terminating his contracts. Remember, they could be sued for wrongful termination, right, depending on the specific clauses within it, but I'm guessing Swedish law, it's pretty robust. So if everyone feels comfortable, I'ma say maybe there's not much of a case for defense there. Maybe some of the charges he can beat, but certainly not all of them. But anyway, this is the other problem in the fact that this wasn't dealt with sooner. And that was that this Victory Zigzag team qualified for Blast. And it's going to leave a lot of ill feeling when stuff like this happens. Because when you look at how they got there, yeah, people are gonna raise fucking eyebrows. This was their path to victory. They topped this, it was the Pelajat Nordic Masters Fall 2023 Blast Premier Qualifier. You can see all the teams that they had to top here. And this was, this is that Precy team that destroyed TSM recently, Their path was, let me show you, they had to beat Ecstatic. This is the Ecstatic lineup there. And they had then to beat the Swedes, 4160 ESIC. And these guys, after they lost, because it's Plessen, it's Robin, it's Twist, Bowmaster, these people are experienced Swedish players. They went on and said there's no way that these guys were legit in our game. Now, again, I'ma just look at it. It's a qualifier. These guys are dodgy. Joel is top fragged, while rejects like Mups G have done their level best to lose. But, I look at that lineup, guys. I look at that lineup, and I know those players, and I know their histories, and I know what gets said behind closed doors. And I'ma just say, this is the type of team I absolutely wouldn't have anywhere near one of my tournaments. Simple as that. Just wouldn't. Sorry, guys, not for me. You can say what you want on social media about how fair that is, but I'm privy to certain things, and I hear certain things, and there's just people I just wouldn't have near a tournament. It's fine. There'll be plenty of others who'll play with you. Hell, there's even some tournaments out there that'll cooperate with you, right? But for me, fuck you. Not my tournaments. And people know who I'm talking about, so I don't need to say anything else. So, anyway, they qualify, then Blast have to come out and say, all right, well, we're suspending Joel. Because obviously, they are an ESIC member, so Joel gets sidelined. And so Victory Zigzag are like, shit, we're going to have to use our coach as a stand-in because we didn't have anyone else registered, right? And you can see here, due to ESIC suspension of the ex-Godsent player Joel, recently qualified for Showdown team, Victory Zigzag will be forced to play with the stand-in for the upcoming event. You can read more about it below. That now, their coach starts grinding Face It, right? Because they're going to have to use him as a stand-in. So he needs to get good. And Bubble has to go on Twitter and say, the coach Hardwell just got banned in Face It. He claims it wasn't him, and he logged into a cafe, but at this moment I don't know or trust him enough to back him, nor do I feel like my judgment of individuals is valid after the situation with Joel, and would not like to be further involved. Well, listen, mate, it's your fucking team, brother, so you are fucking involved, and from what I'm told, you're the captain, so you couldn't be more involved, right? So let me just get this straight, okay? You a team that has all these insane wins over in lesser tournaments that we now suspect had bets placed on them, and one player who placed the bets popping off in those games, he also pops off in this qualifier run by a group that we don't really know too much about, doesn't have a lot of pedigree or prestige in the esports space, to get you to the Blast Showdown. He gets suspended, your coach stands in, starts to grind because he needs to get good, but then just mysteriously gets banned for cheating. I don't know, guys. I'ma just say, that looks like your team is just a bunch of serial shithouses. That's what that looks like. And I can't believe for a second all of these things are independently happening without anyone else knowing that, like, Harwell just did it by himself and Joel just did it by himself and Bubble is literally in a bubble and doesn't know any of this stuff's going on. It doesn't look good, guys. So, Blast have to then come out and they have to suspend the coach now. There it is. Blast bar Victory Zigzag coach from the Fall Showdown following the cheating ban. So Victory Zigzag will not be allowed to use Hardwell. The decision comes after Hardwell received a ban for cheating on his Faceit account on Saturday. The Russian coach denies that he had cheated and seems to claim someone else was responsible, according to another member of the teams. Hardwell was announced as the stand-in for Joel following Joel's decision, ESIC's decision to suspend Joel. The coach, its Faceit ban now seems to put the final nail in the team's coffin. As Bubbles says to HLTV, the Blast Showdown will be his last tournament with the team. Yeah, it's a lot easier with your old Bulgarian friends, isn't it? Less drama, let's say. But here's the thing. Why don't Blast just ban this fucking team? Like, at this point, why not just say, fuck it, and just give it to the second place guys? Why not? Why not give it to those Swedes? It's so crazy to me that what are we going to do? We're just going to let them play in the fucking showdown? We're going to let them use another stand-in or what? Or do they have to play 4v5? Just get them out, guys. What are we even doing here? They've even just said they're not even a team anymore. They're not going to stay together. Nothing of value is lost by just cutting these guys. Like, nothing at all. So why not just do it? But it's esports, so who knows? But as it stands, as of the moment, Victory Zigzag, who definitely Joel definitely didn't match fix, and Hardwell definitely didn't cheat. And there's nothing to see here with these players that are in. That's it. They're just going to be allowed to have a stand-in and play at the showdown and then break up. Not a problem, guys. Just another day in CS, I guess. Although the appeal is still to go ahead, it's not clear how long the ban is going to be for. There's a number of infringements. I guess it's going to be on a per-charge basis. But ESIC have said they'll make comment about this on October 6th. So we should know by October 6th. But spoiler, it's ESIC, so don't hold your breath would be my advice to you. But yeah, what a fucking absolute mess.